So today there's no real planting to do, one or two bits of harvesting. So I just thought we'd have a walk around the potager and see what's happening because there's one or two bits that you might like to know about. First of all, I'm looking at the tomatoes and they're coming along quite nicely now. They're starting to just colour a little bit. Um, it's been quite dry and some of the leaves are curling. That's just a normal sort of reaction to hot weather. The leaves curl to try and prevent too much evaporation. But here's an example of why you need to tie your tomatoes in regularly. This one got so top heavy it broke off. Um, and I do need to go around and do that a little bit again today. There's one or two side shoots there as well that need taking out. So it's kind of a regular ongoing thing to side shoot your tomatoes and keep tying them in to the framework just to give them support while the fruit develop. Um, this is an interesting variety here. This is called Blue Pear. It's an heirloom variety that I got through a seed exchange group here in France. I've not tried them yet, but I'm interested to do so. We've got peppers here coming on quite nicely. These are big, long pointed Spanish peppers, developing really quite well. But I do think that from now on, I probably do need to water everything, maybe just twice a week. Good deep watering of every single plant to the root zone. Don't spray them or sprinkle them. You really need to avoid water on the leaves at the moment because this is the time when blight will be prevalent. Here we've got some courgettes, some little green courgettes. It's really important to harvest them when they're young like this because otherwise you A, end up with marrows, or B, end up with so many large courgettes you don't know what to do with them. Here's a yellow one. I particularly like the yellow ones. They've got a better flavour, I think. And here's what's happened if you don't look at your courgettes for a couple of days. I'm going to have way too many, so I think probably roast them on the barbecue and then make them into a soup. Here's some self-seeded melons. I just spotted them the other day. I'm sure they've just self-seeded from the compost heap, and they're doing way better than any melons I've ever planted. Um, Now I'm looking at the potato bed and we've actually cut back the tops of all the plants because they were starting to go quite shriveled and black, and I was a bit concerned it could be blight. The only way to stop blight once you've spotted it is to really harvest your particular crop and use what you can of them. But we've cut back the tops of those potatoes to try and avoid the fungus going down into the potatoes themselves. So we'll see if that works. Here we've got some more self-seeded squashes, some pumpkins that I deliberately planted. These will give me some nice vegetables for roasting and making soups throughout the winter. It's about a week later now and I've come round again. You can see the tomatoes are ripening, but we've had so much really strong sunshine that one or two of my tomatoes have actually scorched. It's not the end of the world. I actually can cut out the sort of damaged flesh and still use these, but we have got a heat wave forecast, so I might cover them up with some Enviromesh just to prevent any further damage. Padron peppers coming along nicely here. I should be harvesting some of those later on. They're little tiny peppers that you eat when they're immature. And here's my first blue pear tomato ripening, so quite pleased about that. We'll try that later. And you can see here some of the leaves are again starting to go yellow. I'll be cutting some more of the lower leaves off. It's just ongoing maintenance. And there's a big side shoot as well. Some more curling leaves, but that's not too much of a problem. But there are one or two tomatoes showing signs of blossom end rot, where you get a sort of dark, flattened, platy base to the tomato, and we'll come to a picture of one of those in a minute. But here's my plum tomatoes just starting to ripen quite nicely actually, and you'll see that the lowest ones on the plant are the first to be produced, and they'll sort of ripen in stages all the way up the plant. Here's those tomatoes with blossom end rot, and I think this is due to a lack of water. The calcium can't be absorbed by the plant, and that's needed to make the cell walls. So if they can't develop properly, the tomatoes end up with this sort of black base. It's not terrible, and it is reversible in so much that if we treat it now, the rest of the tomatoes will be fine. So I've started watering this week. And here you can see that this cordon tomato is still producing flowers at the top, and this is what we mean by indeterminate or cordon. They're producing fruits from the base upwards, and as you're harvesting fruits from the base of the plant, it's still producing more flowers and further fruit from the top. And here in France that'll continue right the way into September, October. And here's my padron peppers that I shall be harvesting for tonight. Friday night is tapas night, and they make a really lovely tapas dish, just sort of sautéed with a bit of salt and olive oil. So I'm looking forward to those.